Hi, I'm Josh Lee, and this is the third episode in a series of video logs that is covering the development of my game, the Puzzling Ascent. Today I'll go through all the work that I did in week 2, and ladies and gentlemen, there's a big difference compared to what was present in week 1. So last week when I showed off my work, I used a sped up recording to showcase what had been done. However, this week the work I did was a lot of in-engine stuff, moving around blueprints and lighting and stuff like that, which I didn't think was very visually interesting to watch. So I think instead I'll just show you what week 1 was looking like, what you've been seeing now, how bland and boring and empty it was, and then I'll go through what the game is currently looking like and talk you through any ideas and decisions that I made. So straight away, it already looks much better than it did last week in terms of lighting and just looking more complete. Now, I accomplished this by doing a lot of research into lighting in Unreal Engine, which types of lighting are best for scenes and rooms. After this, I went out to look for some assets I could source to make this lighting feel more real, and I really liked this 3D model of a ceiling light by user Jamper on Sketchfab. Now, when I did the block out for the floor, I took out the initial puzzle that's meant to be here, but I'll add that back in later on when I fill up the rest of the room. As you might have noticed, the keypad's had a lot of work done to it as well. For example, it has audio now. That little chime there was just a stock sound to tell the player they got it right. Outside of all the lighting, the keypad was definitely the part of the game that I developed most during this week. There was a lot of different features and things I had to change, such as the lighting on the numbers on the keypad, showing off the numbers so that they were within their specific box, making sure that every keypad worked with its own specific door and they didn't open every door at the same time, and what it does when the code put in is either right or wrong. So I'm going to go through all of those from what was easiest and what was hardest to show how much I did on this keypad. Now, originally I thought my keypad was a bit bland and it was a bit hard to see what the colours were. So I wanted to make it light up, and this was a very easy thing to do. Doing this for the base keypad, which is a solid green block, was especially simple. All I had to do was go into the blueprint and add a rect light in the same shape and size as the green block, adjust the colour, adjust the brightness a little bit, and eventually I think it turned out really well and made a big difference. Now, doing it for the keypad with multiple colours was a little bit more tricky, but still fairly simple. Instead of doing the rect light within the blueprint, I instead made 4 separate ones and put that in the specific instance of the keypad, and then matched each light to the specific colour of the block. After I did this, the next thing I wanted to do was make sure that each number lined up with their specific colour, and doing this was surprisingly complicated. Now, the first part of this was very easy, to be fair. My original keypad widget only had 1 text box for all the numbers, so instead I just created 4 separate text boxes that would line up with the keypad when opened. But the next part was the tricky part, and that was actually showing the number in these text boxes. So to do this, I had to make sure that it was only the last digit of the code being shown in each text box, and I had to do a lot of Googling and researching to figure out an effective way to do this. So I used a substring which took the input of the code and used the length of code -1 with the length of the input to get the end of the code. It's hard to explain, but it works and it's fine for me. I then use a switch on integer which takes the length of the code and applies it to the specific text box with that number. So the first letter goes into the first one, the second into the second one, and so on. But now the really hard part of all of this was making sure the right keypad only affected the right door. I used a lot of different methods and a lot of different ideas, and it took a while, but I eventually got there. So my first idea was to use an integer on the keypad and the door, and then within the door use a branch to make sure that they're equal, and if they are, then open the door, which at first appeared to work and I thought I was really smart until I tried to use it on more than one door, and then it all fell apart and really didn't work. I had to come up with something else. I tried a lot of different things. I tried using tags, I tried using object references, I tried using getting all and specific actors of class, but finally, after a lot of researching and trying, the thing that worked, using all actors of class, getting an array which was editable, and then once I opened the keypad in the game, in the world, in the engine, then I could use an eyedropper tool to select the specific door that I'd like to open. If you want to hear how excited I was when I finally got this working, watch this. Holy shit, what a fucking headache that was, just something so simple. Oh my god. The doors open different doors. This door opens this door. And this door opens this door. Holy shit. I've been at this for a few hours, fucking hell. I was very happy. But now that we're done talking about these stupid keypads, I can go on about the rest of the level. Now, next to the keypad is a flower. I know it's not a very good flower, but I'm in no way an artist. But basically, the flower has yellow petals, and the first colour on the keypad is yellow. So hopefully that'll link to the player that the colour of the petals and the colour of the keypad match, and once they look around the map and find other flowers, they'll notice that the number of petals is different, and they'll have to match the number of petals to the colour on the keypad. Now, going into the women's bathroom here, we can see a blue flower with 4 petals, you know, a row of stalls along the side, and a place for a sink. And we notice that the 4th number in the keypad is blue. So we know it starts with a 5 and ends with a 4. So knowing this, we can keep looking around the map, go into the men's bathroom this time through the door, and see if we can find another flower. And here is a pink flower with a lot of petals. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and an 8th one back there. So we know if there's a pink on the keypad, then the number is 8. And as we move back towards it, we can see that the second number is going to be an 8. So we know it's going to be 5, 8, something, 4. As we look down the hallway, we can see a blue door. Across from it is a orange key door. Can you tell I'm very excited about getting these keypads working? I want to try them out whenever I can. Okay, wrong code. So we'll turn around, go to the blue door, which is unlocked. This is going to be the head office room. And we can have a look around, see if we can find one final flower. On the walls and stuff, we can have bookshelves and stuff like that. So like Mr. Burns' office is what I'm thinking. But here we can see a just amazing red flower, looks just like a flower, maybe like a rose or something. And we know that the red on the keypad will then be a 1. So now we know our password should be 5814. We can tab that in here. 5, 8, 1, and 4. It's wrong. I messed something up when putting in what the code should be. Okay, I went back and changed it, and now the code is actually 5814. There we are. And now we can go into the computer room, which has barely been touched. It's had lights added to it and blocked out little tables and desks. Just give myself an idea of where things are going to go. But it needs a lot of work, obviously, still putting into it. I do have a TV asset now, though, that I put onto the wall. And it will display the Morse code. And it's got a little rect light on it, so it shows the light shining off of the TV and bouncing on the ceiling and the floor, which I think is a nice touch. But in here, you would find a code in the final game. However, that's not been done yet. So we'll use our just test the placement code of 4 ones and put it into this keypad over here. And what a surprise, it's correct. When we go into this room, which is going to be a storage room, again, not been touched. You'd use clues from in here and all around the floor to find the password to this one, which would then give you access to this tiny little storage closet pretty much. You will then find the final password to go up to the next floor. So yeah, that's everything I did this week. I think it's been a very productive week and I've gotten a lot done. In terms of goals for next week, I think the main one is just to finish the puzzles. Get that Morse code puzzle done inside of the computer room, and then get the puzzle done inside of the storage room to open that storage closet, and I think then the floor will be done, and that is a huge step forward in development. Along with this, I want to start also getting some assets in. Obviously, I've already got the TV and the ceiling light and the light bulb and such, but I want to start getting rid of some of them grey box walls and floors and get some actual materials and textures in there. But with all that said, that's me done for today. We'll see where I am next week, and goodbye.